Hello, my name is Bryan, also known as the Land Guy. I want to welcome you to our channel. Today, you're in for a special treat as we go and try to bless a couple of folks that I personally know. And they're an elderly couple and they've had their health challenges and they've got this 60-acre property. But what they're needing help with is some projects around the house. They no longer can garden anymore, and so we're going to be going on site and we're going to be taking out a garden and we're going to be using all that topsoil and spreading it in their yard. In fact, that's why I've got the cedar loaded up, and I've also got some Kentucky 31 lawn seed as well, because that was part of the project. I just love older people, and anytime that you can serve them or honor them, I think should be in our best intentions to be able to do so. And when these folks called me, I said, I think I can help you out. Let me come and look at your projects. And so that's what I did. So anyway, stay tuned. We're going to be hooking up to our trailer that has a skid steer on it. And we're going to be going out on job site today to serve these folks and to help them keep their property up in tip-top shape. Well, we just arrived on site and got the skid unloaded. Let's walk over here and take a look at what we're going to be doing. It's a very nice farm that these folks have, and they had been hard workers in their younger life. But now, as they've aged, they're kind of limited on their physical capabilities. And you can see this is the raised bed garden that they've gardened with for years and years and years. And you can tell that this past year has been pretty rough on them, that they have not been able to keep up with the garden. And pretty much it's been overgrown. There's telephone poles around it that we're going to be taking up, and they have those to hold the dirt in. You can tell we're going to be taking those out. And then before we start anything, we're actually going to be pulling up these panels and these posts. There's one of them telephone poles you can see right down through there. But this soil that's left here, they've expressed the desire for me to spread it out right there in the yard, try to smooth that out. They said that that's kind of a low place in their yard that seems to hold water at times. I think that'd be a good idea. I'll come in here, we'll get all this removed and begin to spread it out over there. Once we get all that smoothed out, then I'll be planting grass seed over there. In this corner here, we'll be seeding as well. Well, we made some nice progress getting that raised bed garden out of there. Still got a little bit of work to do. Looks like there is a board against that. And here's this other pole here. I'll get that pulled out, but I want to pull it back away from the fence because I don't want to mess with this nice wooden rail fence. And it looks just a little loose, so got to be careful with that. Got everything moved over here. Ended up having some pieces of that other telephone pole that was rotten kind of in there, and I got those picked up. But this is that low spot. I'm going to be coming in here and getting that smoothed out with that bucket. It's amazing the things that you can do with just a flat bucket. This one has teeth on it, but that's okay because you can use the back of your bucket to level with. Another thing about using a skid steer in a tight quarters or even in a yard is you've got this to deal with. Unfortunately, there's not really much you can do with it because you're turning in there with a skid steer. You're gonna tear up some of the yard, some of the soil. But my plan is when I get this all done, I'll back drag all this as smooth as I can before I get that grass planted. Hopefully we'll get some of the tracks out of that as well. But I'll get this all dressed up here. I think these folks are gonna be pretty happy. They're watching from the window. They're in the back. So that's just, I think they're just amazed at what can be done in such a little amount of time. And I guess when you are older, it's pretty neat to kind of watch things go on, especially if you're so used to being in the house and not having much company. Whenever someone's on site, they want to look out the window and watch you work. But that's okay. These are great people, and I'm glad to be able to help them out. So here's your tip for the day. When you're spreading out dirt or you've got gravel or something that you're needing to spread, and try to level out the best you can, and you do not have any other attachments other than a bucket, a tooth bucket works really well. And the thing that you've got to do is you've got to keep dirt full inside of that bucket. Or if you're working with gravel, keep that bucket full at all times as you're pushing and spreading the dirt or the gravel out. Because you cannot just fill it full and then dump it and think that you're going to be okay, and you go back and you do it. You're going to spend a lot more time trying to get that spread out. But if you keep it full, the purpose of that is it acts as a dozer blade. So any dirt piles that comes up there that pushes against it, it's not going to be able to sink back into your bucket. That serves as a blade. So there's your tip for the day. It took a long time for me to figure that out. I always emptied the bucket each time, but if you can keep that thing full, it really makes a difference on spreading that stuff out. And of course, it's not a 6-way blade or anything like that, but you can get stuff done. I've got a little bit more work to do here to get this finished up, and then we're going to move on to the next project to help these folks out. Well, I got that spread out the best I can. Once you get it all spread out, then you can empty your bucket and then kind of back drag it. And I'll kind of show you what we was able to do here. So we got that all that low place filled in and got that somewhat dressed up there. So the next plan is to grab some grass seed and this seeder, and I'm going to go ahead and get this all seeded. And then I'm going to roll over it with the tracks on that skid and kind of get that seed pushed into the soil and get this rolled out here so it will look pretty good. Well, I just got done planting that seed and just freshly rolled it with that skid using those tracks. You can tell it really put a nice little roll on that thing. Didn't have a roller with me, but this works out pretty good. We'll get some rain on here and that'll all kind of flatten and level out. Got this side here done as well. Filled in that low spot there. It was pretty low, and the landowners are pretty excited about that. They've been watching me this whole time out the sliding glass door there. But yeah, I think got this part here finished up. I'm gonna go back to the building, and I've got a little bit of stuff I'm gonna do back there for the day. I've got to cut out of here early. I've got some other things going on, and then my daughter, she's playing basketball, and we've got to head out for about a little over an hour drive to get to that location. So do me a solid. If you know somebody that's not capable or able physically to be able to keep up with their property, reach out to them and see if you might be able to help them and their needs. You know, we all have different gifts and different talents, and I'm not saying that you have to bring a skid or do some kind of land work, but there are many other ways that you can serve. I just feel like it's our responsibility as a younger generation to help out those that are older than us, our elders. And I remember when I came out here and looked at this project, the landowner, the lady, came out here and spoke with me, and she said, Bryan, she says, I remember we used to be able to keep up with that garden every year. We was able to keep the weeds plucked out. We were able to harvest the vegetables. And she said, my husband is in bad physical shape and I am not doing that well either because I've got to care for him. And she says, I would like for you just to take that garden out. And I said, Joel, and I said, I can help you out. I said, I've got a machine, I've got the capabilities to do it. And I've also got a day that we can get you fixed up. And so that's what we did. We came in here, we did that, got this all smoothed up, and they all watched me from the window like I was stating. And you can just see that they were just smiling ear to ear because they knew that someone cared and that someone was helping them out. So do me a favor, if you've got an opportunity and you know somebody that is in need, reach out to them and help them. So thank you for watching the video. I appreciate you join us in this journey. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you give us a thumbs up on the video, and let's go out there and let's make a difference.